Police Scotland's claim there were no missed red flags that one of its officers was a serial rapist has been shattered by new revelations after it was revealed that he had 2 previous reports of criminal behaviour against women when he was hired. Alan Greer committed a series of attempted murders or serious sexual assaults, including raping a vulnerable woman just hours after meeting her on duty while serving with Strathclyde Police and Police Scotland. He's been described as Scotland's Wayne Couzens after the Met police officer who murdered Sarah Everard despite multiple red flags about his previous conduct. Police Scotland has so far identified 15 victims, but there are fears the true number is far greater. BBC disclosure has now revealed Greer was investigated by Strathclyde Police for making inappropriate phone calls to women in 2002. The case was reported to the Procurator Fiscal and no action was taken, but the same force hired him as a police officer 7 years later. Strathclyde Police was also made aware at the time that Greer was issued with a caution in 2006 by Metropolitan Police for making more inappropriate calls to another woman in London. The force's operating procedure said at the time they must not recruit people with cautions. Assistant Chief Constable Lynn Ratcliffe was asked shortly after his suicide if there were any missed red flags to indicate he was a danger to women. She replied, "At this stage we've got no evidence to suggest that is the case. At this point we will keep it under review. There is nothing to suggest that there have been any missed opportunities over the years." Police Scotland told the BBC it did not think it was answering questions about Greer's police vetting record when it was asked about red flags. A spokesperson said, "We have been completely open and transparent around information which can be shared in relation to the ongoing investigation into Alan Greer." During an interview with the BBC on the 20th of July 2026, we provided answers to questions relating to Alan Greer's offending during the course of his policing career, which spanned almost 17 years. The investigation has not established any information during his career which could have resulted in his criminal behaviour being identified at an earlier stage. The recruitment and vetting process carried out by Strathclyde Police prior to Alan Greer joining in 2009 will form part of an independent and external review by the National Police Chiefs Council. Our absolute priority throughout this investigation is to support victims as work continues to identify and support everyone affected by this case. It is imperative that we do not disclose any information which could be detrimental to that support. We have already stated publicly that the vetting landscape in 2026 is significantly different from that in 2009, and under current arrangements, Alan Greer's application would not have progressed. One of Greer's victims was this sex worker, who he visited on numerous occasions. She has slammed Police Scotland for allowing him into the force, despite having 2 reports of criminal behaviour against women on his record. The 44-year-old woman said, "It's a joke he passed vetting, it's sickening. The police should have written him off then, alarm bells should have been ringing, abusers start off small. It's on them that they missed this and they allowed him to become a police officer and abuse his power. They let him off with it back then, so he would have thought he could get away with anything, and that cockiness would have kept his fetish for abusing and controlling women going." She told the Scottish Sun how the creep forcibly pinned her down while they had sex and then stalked her, calling her up to 18 times in one day. The woman who met with him around 20 times between 2017 and 2024 told how the monster, who killed himself earlier this year, even tried to dupe her into having unprotected sex against her will.
You know what? I've always thought of him as a pure creep, right? But maybe I'm just picking up wrong and I'm a bit paranoid. Because you told me something about him. Maybe it's sort of changing the name in front of this. I was like, right on.
And how do you feel about when you've seen all of that?
It's a pure shock. I'm just thinking I'm dead lucky.
There was something dodgy about him. He was quiet, but he was a real creep. From the off, there was something I didn't like, something in my gut. He would pin my arms down when he was on top and I would have to push him off. I have PTSD from a previous attack and I told him I hated it. He would do it every time he saw me. It was as if he forgot. It was like a control thing. I also caught him trying to pull off his condom when I told him to wear one. I told police this and they said that could have potentially been classed as rape. The HM Inspector of Constabulary for Scotland, Craig Naylor, today confirmed Greer should never have become a police officer. He told the BBC the new revelations have raised significant concerns, especially the issues around the vetting undertaken in 2009. He said intelligence like that, or a caution which he accepted, should have precluded him from becoming a police officer. He praised the Scottish Parliament for creating new legislation to permit the expulsion of personnel who fail re-vetting, but suggested budget constraints was hampering the work. He said the government now need to put resources into this at a time when their budget is significantly under pressure. Only around a third of personnel hired prior to the creation of Police Scotland in 2013, around 8,800 people, have been re-vetted. This is despite at least 29 incorrectly assessed flags at an HMICS sample of 5,500 staff, representing just 10% of all applications conducted in the wake of the cousin scandal.